Hi, my name is Jim Fadden from Woodstock, New Hampshire. We're located halfway between Montreal and Boston, right dead center in the White Mountain National Forest. Every story has a beginning, so I guess mine starts with Joseph, the first of my family to migrate to this wonderful valley. Early 1800s, I like to say Thomas Jefferson was president. Below is the first member of my family, Simeon, who was born here in 1835. And then, over here I have a shot of my great-grandparents who started this general store in 1896. Here we have a pretty good example of one of the 7,500 trees that we have tapped. This one here is going to be put in place at about this height in the springtime. However, at that time we're going to have roughly 4 to 5 feet of snow on the ground. The woods right now takes on a little different look than it's going to this classic example of something we've got to look forward to this spring. You'll notice this tree has fallen down over the top of the pipeline. Right now it's resting on it, so we're going to have to cut the tree off from the pipeline system. And this is very typical of some of the problems that we have to deal with each year. Each spring, we drill a hole into the maple trees, a ½ inch in diameter, approximately 2½ inches deep, drive a spile, and when I was a kid, we used to hang buckets and covers in order to collect the sap. Today, however, we're using plastic tubings. Same thing, we drill a hole in the tree, we insert the spout into the hole that we've drilled. However, now the sap runs directly from the tree to collection tanks that we have at the bottom of the mountain. We simply remove the water, approximately removing 49 gallons of water to produce 1 gallon of pure maple syrup. This technology that you see behind me here is a reverse osmosis machine. This type of technology was first invented during the Second World War, used on ships and submarines to produce drinking water from seawater. Under that application, of course, the sailors threw away the salt and drank the water. Well, we use this thing just backwards. Within these steel tubes are membranes, and sap pumped through the membranes. The water, being the smallest molecule of all, will pass through the membrane, but everything else that's in the maple sap goes right straight through the machine to collection tanks on the other side. The next step for maple syrup production is to boil that concentrated sap that we have in the storage tank. What you see in front of you right now is a maple syrup evaporator. This piece of equipment's only function is to boil away the remaining water in the sap to produce pure maple syrup. This one is oil-fired, produces 1 million BTUs of heat. However, to do that, it laps up approximately 15 gallons of fuel every hour. Last season, with fuel oil being $4 per gallon, it cost $1 per minute just to run this machine. That's why the reverse osmosis machine is so important, as it removes 3/4 of the water with a simple membrane and electric pump, only using pennies of electricity. The fresh sap coming in will not mix with what's partially been boiled, unless you stir it with a spoon. But as it lays on this dead level surface, the fresh sap coming in pushes against the partially boiled sap, and as a result drives the finished product through the evaporator to a valve at this end of the machine. Now, when I was a boy, I used to have to stand here and monitor the temperature by the outlet box. Water boils at 212 degrees. However, maple syrup is syrup at 219 degrees. When we produce all of our maple syrup, it ends up going into 55-gallon stainless steel drums. And over the course of the season, all of those drums are stored in a cold storage room. However, at the end, as we start selling product, we take and dump the finished syrup into a canning unit, which I'm sitting in front of right now, and each of the individual containers are filled at that time. Each year we have thousands of visitors, not only from all over the United States, but all over the world. Here in this register, there are names of folks from Israel, Kenya, South Africa, the UK, Ireland, Spain, Italy, Greece, has even more faraway places such as New Zealand, and also in the register is Texas and California and Washington State, Tennessee, Arkansas. It reads like a map of the United States. I guess probably it's easier to make maple syrup than it is to sell it at a profit. For that, we do it here in the general store, and we put it in flat rate boxes and ship it all over the United States, for that matter, all over the world. I guess at this point I'd like to introduce my youngest son, John, his lovely wife, Emily, who is the one that produced this video production, and my little lovely granddaughter, Maggie. I'm going to ask you the question of, what do you kids think that the most fun part of maple syrup is?
Most fun part of making maple syrup is spending time with family and being around people that you love, and also knowing that I'm passing on this tradition.
Annually, we produce upwards of 2,500 gallons of maple syrup. Some of it happens to be pretty damn good syrup, because we've won the Carlisle Trophy, which is the best maple syrup in New Hampshire 5 times. Also, we've won best maple syrup in all of North America once, which is like the grand kahuna of maple prizes. I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce Generation 7 and Generation 8. My plan is that someday I'm going to go traveling and the kids are going to send me checks. But at this point I'd like to ask, why is it that you think that we should participate in this TV program?
To help promote the maple industry.
And to help promote our family and to let everybody know how unique we are.